Hi, everybody. Welcome and thank you for joining us. Finally got everything up and running. Ran to a couple of technical issues on the back end over here. Because we're running late, I kind of just want to go ahead and get started. So, Stephen, Chris, if you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves, we'll jump right in and yeah, won't keep everyone waiting any longer.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm Chris Russell. This is Stephen Russell. We are with Autumn Springs, a RussCorp company, family owned and operated residential assisted living specialists.
I'm Stephen Russell. I'm one of the partners with Chris. Both Russells, we are family. Been a family business for a long time. And we really appreciate Quest letting us spend some time with you in your lunchtime. And hopefully we can bring you some ideas and investments that you've never heard of, or at least a twist of investments that you can look at.
So, I guess first, who is RussCorp and who is Autumn Springs? So, Steve, why don't you tell us who we are?
Yeah, well, let's start off with Chris. Uh, Chris has been with RussCorp and affiliated companies since 2010. A lot of y'all may have seen us at Quest in the past. We did monthly meetings there for many years. We talked traditional real estate. We did national programs where we brought in speakers. We did a lot of things with the local market, but then we migrated around COVID to the national market and bringing in guest speakers. But Chris has been with us for a long time. He started out as a realtor for us back in 2010. He was our
Started full time 2012.
right. And the thing he went with is he was our real estate broker, and he was also the person that did short sales. And he got his feet wet all during the early 2010, 11, 12, 13.
Yeah, banks were fun to negotiate with during those days.
It's just a treat, but it was the way we did business back then.
Yeah.
Our business back then was wholesaling, rehabbing. We did do a couple of build outs. We did quite a few custom homes over the period.
Mhm.
During that period, also, a little variation, everything about 10 years of traditional real estate. Teaching was our last thing we did prior to COVID. We still did traditional real estate, but teaching was our meat. We had such a good time learning and did very well in the traditional market that we wanted to teach a lot of the young investors, at least explain the knowledge we have, and hopefully it'll help them become better investors. And then, of course, myself, I've been in it a little longer than Chris. I retired out of the corporate world in 2003 and 4, and actually opened up a mortgage brokerage company and decided to start being a landlord. Great business. We went through a lot of different ups and downs, and I learned how to rehab my own houses, which back in then we did them mostly ourselves, painting, everything.
Yeah,
So-
it took us a while to figure out not to be swinging the hammers ourselves.
Yeah, it took a long time to learn to pay other people, but when you begin, you tend to want to do that. But single family was our primary focus. We did some commercial, and then, like I said, custom home building. And I was very fortunate that I had a real good customer base, and I helped the lending and helped with the construction on probably 8 or 9 major hotels in the Houston area, plus 40 or 50 C stores and a little bit of everything all over the Houston. But we
Sonic,
stayed in the
Steak and
Houston
Shake.
area.
Yeah, Sonic, Steak and Shake.
Yeah,
Popeyes.
Sonics. I forgot about that. Steak and Shakes. But anyway, long story short is we came down for a long time and worked in the traditional real estate business. And as everybody knows, things kind of winded down towards 2019, 2020, and kind of got into a little bit different train of thought. The next slide, please. These are the companies that we formed and operated all through 2010, 2011 with the formation, up until about 2020. We had RussCorp Realty, RussCorp Properties, RussCorp LLC, Houston Buyers Club. Y'all probably remember us in Quest, the Houston Buyers Club. We did wholesaling, buy and hold, rehabbing, education, mentoring, new home construction, commercial development, owner finance, and
Now
then
we're heading into
broke into residential assisted living.
with our new company, Autumn Springs Home Care Communities.
And after COVID hit, we had to make a big
Oh, looks like we might have lost. We might have lost the broadcast. Stephen and Chris, if you guys can hear me, you're frozen on your end. Hopefully, we can get them back. Let's see if I drop it down. Sorry, everybody, give us 1 second. Yeah, it looks like we lost their connection. Give us a couple minutes, everybody. I tell you, we were dealing with some technical difficulties. Technology. This is how it runs. Okay. So what we'll do is, in the meantime, while we're waiting on them to connect, as not to waste you guys' time, let's talk about kind of the events that we have coming up. Just while we let them log back on, let me go ahead and get through. Give me 1 second. All right, so right now, while we wait for them to log back on, just as a reminder, we are running our rewards for deposit still till the end of this month. If you're able to at least initiate the movement of funds, and you can just kind of show us when the funds come in, like, hey, this was initiated before the promo end, we will still honor the rewards for deposits. And so obviously it's working like a tier system. 125 for any movement of funds in. That's going to be 100,000 to 300,000, 3 to 600,000. You're going to get 250, and from 600,000 up, you're going to get that $500 reward, and that's to go right back into your account. It can be used towards future fees. So that's the way to think about it. You move funds in, you got over 100,000. Your investment is going to be free the next time you want to purchase a new asset. On top of that, we also have our luau coming up. So this is going to be essentially this is going to be our social, right? Normally we host our socials on the first, second, and third Tuesday of every month in our Houston, Austin, and Dallas office, respectively. With this one, we're going to do a little bit different. So first, because 4th of July is falling on a Tuesday, and we know everyone is going to be out celebrating, we're going to go ahead and not make you have to choose between celebrating, having fun with your family or friends, and coming to the luau. So we went ahead and moved that back. The Houston and Austin ones will happen on the same day, on Tuesday the 11th, same times, 6 to 8:30, and then the Dallas one is going to be on Tuesday the 18th, so the third Tuesday. So that one's going to be normal. Now, how this one's going to be different. Normally we have you come out, we allow for a little bit of networking, and then we have a presenter come out for the bulk of the time, and then we allow for the deal pitching at the end. This one, however, is just going to be for networking, right? So we're going to exclusively do networking. There's not going to be any education that comes out. We're going to have our sponsors come out. They're going to have a couple minutes just to introduce themselves, talk about, what business they're in, the opportunities they have. And from there, we're really just going to allow you guys to do nothing but network. So really utilize this time. If you have a deal and you're wanting to raise capital, you get to meet some people here. If you have capital that you're looking to deploy, you get to meet people here, whether it's going to be lending or investing into some of the deals that are going to be happening. Also, do not forget, coming up is our Elite Multifamily Summit. Right, so this is going to be in Irving, Texas, if I'm not mistaken, right outside of Dallas, in the Omni Las Colinas Hotel. And really, we're going to take a look at the totality of the market, right? Just like we do with all of our summits, right? we're really just wanting to give you an update on the state of the market. I know it used to be that multifamily was by far, the most common investment we see here, and it still is, but the market has changed, and it's important to keep updated with that, even if you're, regardless if you're an active or a passive investor. And so we're going to have a lot of things going over the state of the market. We're going to talk about the different strategies people are doing. We're going to talk about due diligence, right, and how that's changed even just from a couple of years ago. We'll talk about the effects of multifamily investments within an IRA, outside of an IRA, how they could be treated different, and the role that your IRA will play, right? And best way to think about it, it's not just your IRA, right? If you're a syndicator and you're looking to see what opportunities you have for raising capital, don't ignore the entirety of the retirement space. People have their largest pool of funds, for the most part, are going to be in their retirement accounts. So if you're a syndicator, don't lose that opportunity. All right. All right. Looks like we've got Stephen and Chris back. Let's see if we're able to get them up here.
Service holds up. The whole building was out.
Oh my goodness.
Hey.
Complex.
The entire building went out. I don't know what to tell you.
Hey, the timing, right? That's how it's got to happen.
Hey, love technology, guys.
All right, so let me go ahead. I'll pull everything back up. Give me 1 second, and
Appreciate
then
it.
back to it. Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll try and talk a little faster.
Let's see here. All right, guys, you take it away.
Got to get a slide up here.
All right, so let's see where we are.
Okay, close. Yeah, leave it on that one.
Okay.
So anyway, Chris, we finished up how we came into picking
So
assisted living.
we started doing a lot. We decided to go into the field of assisted living after meeting with REL Academy and Gene Guarino. And coincidentally, this is actually the first project that we picked up is down on the island of Galveston. This is a full residential care home. Used to be 2 duplexes. They got turned into a care home back in 2000. We acquired this actually just back in September. We've been going through a little bit of deferred maintenance and fix up. And we plan on doing a large scale expansion on the backside and adding about 3,000 square feet. So that is actually our most recent purchase. Next slide.
Back when we were doing traditional real estate, and everybody that's done traditional real estate found ways to make money with single families. And like I said before, in 2010 up to about 2020, we did single family business. And just kind of just a quick deal, and this is pretty accurate. We did wholesaling, but it usually only brought maybe $2,000 to $20,000 per wholesale deal. We did very good because we were doing a lot of wholesales a year. We did some fixing up and cash and flip, and those were nice, but they would be 2 or 3 month projects, and you can make 10 to 50K depending on your
rehab in the area.
Rehab in the area and the type of home. Rental homes we did quiet for a long time. Cash flow anywhere from 100 to 400, 500 again, depending. Group homes where we put in multiple people, maybe VA or some things like that. You get a little more rent. You can make it a little more per month because you'd have more additional income coming in.
That's right.
And then there's short-term rentals. Airbnb is one of the big examples. You can even make a better cash flow. So what I'm getting at is there's a lot of ways to make money with single-family homes. Then we ran across, like Chris said, REL Academy and their model, which helped us, opened our eyes. Not only were we helping seniors and adults have a nice place to live their last 5 to 10 years of life, but we're in a type of business that the cash flow and the money income was, we just couldn't believe it. It was very good. You can make $10,000 to $20,000 per month net with an REL home. Mm-hmm. But in the last few years, the market changed a lot prior to 2020. Everybody knows it was challenging. We looked at it cost so much to do wholesale. All the prices were going up. You were guessing and hoping that the market went up when you did a flip. most of the time they did for a while. We looked at a lot of ways to try to invest. And when Chris and I got back together, in fact, he drew me out of retirement to do this.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. As we got back together, we had to really, really think as a business and on a personal life, what do we want to do in real estate? We've done a lot, and we've been very, very blessed to have done it well. But we wanted something that was different, that was still real estate related. And that brings us back to residential assisted living. When we heard and did the schooling and training at RL Academy, it just checked all our boxes. Not only was it a business that we can help seniors and moms and pops and families, but it was also a business that, if ran correctly and if you understood how to do it, could make you a lot of money in the RL business. So what is RL?
Yeah, that brings
what
us
does
to
it stand
question,
for?
What is residential assisted living, or RAL? So simply put, the definition is residential assisted living is a group home for seniors that also provides assistance with their activities of daily living, or ADLs. It's a step between independent living and nursing homes. During those golden years, some seniors start needing a lot more help with their activities of daily living, like housekeeping, medication management, keeping track of the medicines that they're taking. They'll need help bathing, eating, and so on. But the seniors don't want to give up their independence and the comfort of their home. RALs provide them with a beautiful home environment and 24/7 caregiver assistance to assist them with their ADLs. The home environment can be less stressful than the larger assisted living complexes. So when you think of assisted living, a lot of times we think of these large apartments or hotel style, maybe a repurposed hospital. That's not at all what we're talking about. And it sure isn't the Golden Girls getting together and taking care of each other. So reality is, this is a residential assisted living. It's a small single family home in a nice neighborhood that takes care of seniors. Residential assisted living is a niche that many savvy investors have found meets the criteria that they're looking for, and a niche that will be one of the greatest investment vehicles for the next 20 years going. REL is one of the top commercial property investments with a history of strong returns. The demand for senior housing is rising and is going to continue to do so for decades to come. RELs produce consistent monthly income for owners and investors. Senior living is also a recession resilient asset class. And senior housing has low correlation to economic cycles, and it's not highly dependent on some of the economic swings in the market. And it also provides very sound exit strategies. So a residential assisted living care home is an upscale private pay small group home environment, and it's quickly becoming one of the most preferable settings for an elderly person needing 24/7 care. It's done primarily in a single family home in a residential neighborhood.
Well, there's got to be reasons for people that are looking to invest in residential assisted living. The main thing, because there's a lot of things happening in our life right now. There's a crisis with our seniors now for the next 20 years. What that means, in order to be a trendsetter in this industry, we had to think a little ahead. It's not what we're doing today and to flip tomorrow or next month. We're looking at what business can we get into that will draw income, but also be beneficial 10 years from now, 20 years from now. And senior living and residential senior living is definitely the trend, because look at the age demographics. Right now in most assisted living facilities, the average age is in the late 80s, early 90s. That's my parents. That's probably some of your parents. Us baby boomers are the next big influx coming into this market.
Yeah, and y'all coming up quick.
Hey, we got our moms and dads and aunts and uncles in there, but we're 10 years. We're going to start needing this type of facility.
That's absolutely right. And there's a large amount of y'all baby boomers.
A lot of millennials after us. Y'all have a bigger market. Yeah. So it's a market that we see, and all the knowledgeable investors that understand the demographics see that it's not going away. A lot of people cannot take their mom and dad and put them in their home and take care of them anymore. They were dual working families. They've got kids to raise. We understand that. And a lot of them have experienced the big box being the big institutions, and been very disappointed. And the rates they charge in these big boxes could be from $8,000 to $15,000 a month. A lot of amenities, but a lot of confusion and a lot less care.
So I guess to go over a couple of the points that you see on the screen, some of the big driving factors, like we had touched on, the baby boomers are going to be a huge influx. It's often referred to as the silver tsunami of seniors. More than 10,000 people are turning age 65 every day, and 4,000 plus people are turning 85 every day.
It's amazing.
So it's definitely an important tip to highlight. And another thing to keep in mind is that nobody moves into assisted living unless they need it. You know, people don't just transition their entire lives because assisted living homes are nice places to live. Seniors move into them because they need the quality of care. They need help with their ADLs. They can't do it on their own.
And their families need help.
So some more statistics, according to the most recent available data, more than 810,000 people already currently reside in assisted living facilities. Assisted living costs an average of $5,000 per month across the nation, and that number is actually rising. The population of adults older than 85 is going to double by 2036 and then triple by 2049. 7 out of 10 people are going to require some form of assisted living care in their lifetime. And the U.S. will need nearly 1 million new senior living beds by 2040 alone.
You know, Chris, that just tells you that you can't build that much to accommodate all those people.
We
It's
can't build them
definitely
fast enough.
It's just not enough. And the only alternative we've got is they live with the kids, and we are seeing a big influx in assisted living, small like we do, and even the big ones. The only other alternative is they don't live with mom, they get into government housing, and I don't really want to go there because it is not a nice place to put anybody.
So that brings up the question, does this create a crisis or an opportunity?
Well, it's an opportunity, but you know, there's also the idea that there's other reasons to get into this, and we'll talk about that in a little bit later. When it comes to residential assisted living, the opportunity is really twofold. As an investor and as an owner, you're going to have ownership of the real estate, which means you get your tax write-offs, you get all your depreciation, and you're going to have an asset with the home, and that is your business. Two profit centers are coming in. Most of the money, of course, is in the business itself. In order to grow the business and a good RL portfolio, we hire managers, administrators to operate and run the assisted living business, and we take care of all the day-to-day business operation activities. We do not do it. We never encourage it, and I'll never encourage an investor or an owner to run the facility.
No,
It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
Chris.
absolutely. You want to be the one working on the business, not in the business.
Yeah. The thing that we found out when we bought our first one, we were down there how many days a week?
Oh, at least 4 or 5.
Yeah, for the first 5 or 6 months, mainly to learn the business better and the day to day. But it was an eye opener of what it takes to run one. If you work in the business, you will not be able to expand and grow the business. You'll be inundated.
So I guess my next question is, can you really make great returns? Can you make a decent profit with assisted living?
Yeah, you can make great returns with assisted living.
Excellent.
In today's market, about 70% of assisted livings are mom and pop. Mom and pop means they've got a nice house, they got 2 or 3 little bedrooms, and instead of letting them sit vacant, they'll bring in some elderly people and charge them rent, just like a landlord. And then the next thing, they got another couple and another couple and another couple. Now they have a business. It's not profitable because, in my opinion, because they're living there 24/7. They become 24/7 caregivers and business operators, but they work in the business only, not own the business. The new generation of residential assisted living and small campuses are run and operated by entrepreneurs and business people. We're seeing the age under 40, them coming in with a whole different philosophy, and that is to operate and run them, have somebody else do all that, and you treat it just like your own business. You, of course, you oversee it. You got a board of directors, things of that nature. The the facilities are very home and environment, and they provide seniors with a comfortable home and not the big box experience. The newer models will generate as much net profits as 30 to 50 unit apartments from one single home.
That's phenomenal.
That's great. We'll put that up. Yeah.
So I guess a couple of examples, an average 12-bed resident home, because here in the state of Texas, you can have up to 16 residents. So if we look at an average 12-bed residential home, we're going to be bringing in probably around $4,300 per person per month times 12. So that brings you to $5,160 as your gross income. Your expenses and vacancy rate going to cost you probably around $32,000. And of course, you're probably going to have it financed because it's always smart to leverage your money. So you have $6,000 debt service or rent. That still leaves you with the $13,300 monthly net income or $159,600 annual income off one single family home.
You think that's good? Now you got to remember, in the state of Texas, how many beds can we get into a neighborhood now?
In a single family setting, we can have up to 16.
16.
Residents.
Bigger is better, guys. Our experience and the way we do in our business, when we have 6, 7 residents, it's a break even. You pay your bills, your debt service, everything's done. It's great. You pay your managers, you pay everybody else. But the profit comes in when they're larger. Because at that point, everybody you put in at $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month is almost 60% of it is profit. The rest of it costs a little bit. You got more food. You got to put some more employees. So as a business standpoint, it's good to stay in that range between 10 and 16 because that's where you start seeing the great income coming to the business owner. If you go a little bigger, let's say you do 14 beds, for example, and say you get $5,500 per month. That's $77,000 monthly gross, $45,000 in expenses and vacancies. We have debt, $7,000 debt service. That leaves $25,000 monthly net income. That's $300,000 annual net income off of one house. Can you do that with a rent property?
Not
Can you do that with a flip?
Not with a single family home, maybe a commercial property.
Commercial,
definitely not with a residential setting.
But with residential setting and the houses we pick out and the ones we work with our portfolio, we stay in that 10 bedroom and up, or residence and up. There's bigger ones. Here's one. This is the goal. Every residential assisted living owner should go. You can get 16 beds.
That's right. We're Texans. We have no problem saying bigger is better. So if you figure bigger and a little bit nicer finishes, call it a luxury level, 16 beds. So you're going to be on average $6,500 per person, 16 residents. That's $104,000 monthly gross income. Your expenses will be a little bit more. So you got on average, say $51,500 for your expenses and vacancy, and your debt service is a little bit higher, call it $7,000. That still leaves you with a monthly net income of just over $45,000. That's an annual net income of $546,000 a year.
Are people really doing this, Chris?
Yes, they are. I mean, we're doing it.
We're doing it.
We know a lot of other people that are doing it all across the nation. So it's definitely not something that has been disproven. If anything, it's actually been proven. I mean, we know a lot of the smaller scale facilities in a residential setting withstood the test of COVID. Unlike these larger facilities where they were losing residents and having to shut down because of COVID and all the complications, a lot of the residential settings, because they were smaller, they were able to lock down, they were able to take care of their residents. still remained open and profitable, even throughout one of the hardest times for the healthcare.
I think one of the things, kind of just to highlight a little bit, hopefully you can see here on the examples. Of course, there's more depth and expansion, but that can be explained when we do it, or people that work with us. But the main thing is that it's assisted living in the residential market brings to not only the investor but also to the moms and dads and the senior living a beautiful home. They walk in the door with their families. They see a nice house. They don't see a departmentalized hospital entry. They see furniture, and they see people watching TV. They smell bacon and eggs, not the normal hospital smells, which I'm not going to mention because they can be really bad. Yeah. They provide a very good care ratio. In other words, where big stores and hospitals, they normally will have one nurse or caregiver for every 20 or 30 patients or residents. We do a 1 to 6. In other words, in 1 to 4, depending on the type of assisted living it is. You got special care, somebody right there. If mom falls, we're going to be right on top of it. They're not going to be sitting in a bathroom in some little room on a hospital wing, waiting 45 minutes to an hour or two until they're discovered. So the personal care, the safety, the good feeling is so important. And that kind of brings us to a lot of different things. And one of the big reasons why we got into it, we'll discuss in just a few minutes. But what you get right now, it's one of the top commercial properties with a history of strong revenues. It's not new. It's been around. We just, at this point, it's not like apartments. Everybody knows them. But this is something that we can migrate to in our investment portfolio that will not only complement anything you do with multifamily. It's actually an easier to run facility and more profitable. The demand for senior living is rising every year. We discussed that. It earns a consistent income. Once you get filled up, you do have attrition, and you do have some of the seniors have to move to a higher skilled nursing, but you'll lose maybe 4 or 5 a year, and then be replaced. But the marketing out there is real good. It's easy to find residents, easy to find help. Senior housing is recession resilient. Now, what does that mean? That just means mom and dad and the seniors have to be somewhere. If the economy around us is having a hard time, they're usually living off insurance policy, or they sold their house, or the kids are helping participate. That's not going to change. If it does, they go back to the families, and the families, bless their heart, we've done that. We took our mom, Christy's grandmother, and cared for her in our home for years, with dementia becoming worse and worse and worse, and caregivers coming in. It is very stressful on the family. It is very, very hard on mom, because dementia is something we're seeing a lot of, and you need specialty people. You need people that understand how to work with people like that. It's also
go back slide, please.
It's also works with the economic cycles and not highly dependent on the sorts of the economic swings. Hey, right now, guys, we're having a lot of economic swings. We have a lot of doubt in our economy, a lot of speculation, a lot of it's rumors, a lot of it's fact. We don't know. But
banking's fun right now.
Yes. We live in very, very unique times economically and financially. But we can definitely depend on a couple of things in life. And that's one thing, that we always take care of family. And this is one way that we see that our seniors definitely have a place to be. It's better than the government housing.
That's right. And at the end of the day, it's an investment that you can feel good about, because you're providing for those who have provided for us. The senior living sector provides attractive investment opportunities.
Absolutely. And on a personal note, um, one of the reasons you got to have reasons to invest besides it's a good opportunity. It's got to have reasons for us to be in this business. Besides, it makes a great real estate portfolio. We took this very seriously when my mother and Chris's grandmother. We had so many years of in and out of hospitals, in and out of facilities like this, and taking care of her at home versus the facility, and the facilities were terrible. Um, and this residential assisted living, when we saw the presentation by Gene at RL Academy, it's a model. It just hit all our buttons emotionally and financially because we're going to be in business for the next 10, 15 years doing this. We're a buy and hold company. We're not a flipper. This is something we buy. We build up a good business and we keep it running, and it will make more money every year because unfortunately cost of living goes up, so cost of being a senior goes up. But it is one of the few areas we've run across. I can't think of anything else that we can think 5 years from now we can pretty much project what we're going to be making on the number of homes we have.
No, and I mean, quite frankly, it's like I stated earlier. I have yet to see anywhere else where you can create financial freedom for yourself and your family by providing a better quality of life for others.
Right.
So I guess next slide, the bottom line, whether you're looking for ways to diversify your investment portfolio or if you're just getting started with real estate investing in the coming year, consider investing in residential senior housing. There's always going to be a demand for senior real estate properties as the baby boomers age, and there's abundant room for growth with new development due to the shortage in supply. I mean, not only that, but it's also a low risk investment that you can always count on to yield high returns. More and more real estate investors are interested in investing in various care segments like residential assisted living facilities, senior living communities, and so on. Hospice, independent living, 55 and up communities, adult daycare, senior home care, and nursing homes.
The senior housing asset class is a potentially attractive investment for well-informed investors. Historically, senior housing has performed well during times of economic flux and serves a growing population of citizens seeking a safe, social, and care-centric communities. This makes a future-proof investment opportunity for the right investor who understands the value and expertise in operation. A lot of people ask us at this point, how they can invest in our type business. It's real simple. We do partnerships with individuals on all of our investments. It's a limited partnership that we do with. We bring partners in. We purchase the property and we fix it up, make it nice, make it beautiful, whatever it takes from small deferred maintenance to rebuilding and adding on. We do all that, but we try to keep it to a partnership level. We look syndications. We've done a lot of different other kinds, but the partnership with a general partner and a limited partner, it seems the best solution for us. All the limited partners, of course, passive, but what we do is we give equity position to every investor with us. Again, we try to keep each investment with 3 or 4, no more than 4 or 5 at the most investors in the participation. But you will receive income on the net profit of all of our investments per month, paid quarterly. And the biggest thing is you're going to be with us for the whole buy and hold period. Even after we've done cash out refis to get principal back, we're going to maintain all of our partners because they're loyal and stay with us.
So that's right. We typically work with a lot of partnerships, but there's other methods out there. There's syndications that you can work with if you're comfortable with syndications. There's large equity funds out there that are doing senior living in different ways, building different portfolios. So there's a lot of options out there. if y'all have any questions about how to get into senior living as an investment standpoint, feel free to give us a call or schedule a conference with us. We'd be more than happy to sit down and explain the options and what's going on in our world.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for doing that presentation. This is actually this is an asset class that I don't think a lot of people think of when they think of getting into like real estate investing.
Correct.
Right? And this is just something that, like you said, the opportunity is there, and not too many times you get to feel like you are really giving back and improving someone's life with this type of investment.
That's right.
And so we got some questions in the chat, so let's go ahead and take a look at those.
All right, fire away.
All right, so it says, what type of license does Texas require? And is the sweet spot 12 to 16 beds?
So the state of Texas, anything over 3 beds, you have to be licensed with the state.
Right.
If you have up to 16 beds, you're still considered a small facility, so you get away with less rules and regulations from the state. If you're 17 beds or more, then you're classified as a large facility, and the rules and regulations definitely get a lot more stringent. If you're looking at something like an Alzheimer's certification, that would be memory care. And there are also individual rules and regulations specifically for dementia, Alzheimer's, and memory care, and how you can run and operate as a business in that sense. So it depends on what you're getting into with the facility and how big or how small you'd like to be.
It says the sweet spot 12 to 16. Why is that?
So really, if you're doing it on a smaller scale, you typically break even somewhere around 6 to 7 residents in a facility. You start making decent money when you get to 12 or more. When we work with partners, it makes more sense to have the 12 to 16 because then it creates better returns for our investing partners.
Everybody.
Got it. And so another person was asking, after studying the model, it seems like staffing is the biggest obstacle. So any kind of hints, or what's your take on that?
But we can both go into that. Staffing is a challenge because it's normally because people come into this when they're new and they're not in the health industry. They don't understand how to bring staffing in, management, and training. One of our key things when Chris and I started doing this is that we wanted to have all of our staff trained well with the state classes so they understand it. They're better caregivers, they're better managers. Acquiring them has not been an issue for us, but I think it's like a lot of things, people don't know where to go to find the staff.
Well, I think the other issue is the staff tends to feel underappreciated. We've seen that the average pay should be somewhere around $12 to $15 an hour for a caregiver, depending on skills and qualifications. But most of the time, these people are at 10 and under. They're not offered what they're really worth. So it's a hard time getting a hold of them. And now there's plenty of them out there. There's a lot of retiring nurses. There's people that are tired of working in hospital settings. I mean, there's a whole plethora of reasons why they would come into an assisted living facility and work as a caregiver or management with us. So we've been fortunate that we haven't had much of a struggle finding the staff.
And also we have a large marketing division in our company, and marketing is the key to finding staff and also residents.
Well, look, anytime you have a business, the business really is marketing.
Marketing, sales.
No matter what the business really is, you're marketing.
Correct.
Constantly. So
right, and that actually leads to the next question I was asking. How much do you consider when it comes to marketing? Right, what is the overall cost associated with that?
So that is probably our 3rd or 4th largest budget.
If we do a lot of in-house, we do have a couple of teams out there that help us, but most of our marketing's in-house. I can't say how much a dollar it is to get a staff person, but you're going to spend some money with professionals, a couple $100 a month for each of them, probably, if you hired them on.
And if you're looking at the other side of it and bringing in residents, it's the same thing. You're constantly marketing. There's
a lot of placement companies.
Yeah, you work with a lot of placement agencies. You do a lot of networking with hospitals and healthcare, different hospice companies. There's a lot of different options out there. And if really you're networking like most of us already do as real estate investors. You're not going to have really any issues filling the beds with residents and finding plenty of staff to take care of them.
And everybody that's been in this market, they tell us for 2 or 3 years, your reputation at one point will get to the point your marketing slows down because you get referrals all the time. The good facilities get referrals.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so the next question is kind of shifting, is asking, how have you dealt with exclusive areas with HOAs and with
Knew
DOA?
this was going to come up.
Yeah, we knew somebody asked that. That was one of our first questions too.
So HOAs are interesting. Most of them don't mind having a senior living facility in their neighborhood,
but
it's not like they're going to be up late partying every night. They're not going to have 30, 40 cars parked out in front of the home. I mean, most of these people, they don't drive anymore. Occasionally you'll have visitors. At most you'll have staff parking, but usually you still have the driveway, so they're still parking there. You don't have to worry about the clutter on the streets. Not a lot of loud noises and a whole lot going on, so it's not anything that's disruptive to the neighborhood. You might find a little bit of pushback if you have to do any kind of expansion or remodeling to the facility or the home to turn it into a facility. But typically, they're very open to working with you when you explain what it is, what you're doing.
Right.
There's also the fact that, due to the Fair Housing Act, on multiple points, you can't discriminate against seniors. You can't discriminate against group homes. So there's a lot of different things to get around HOA. But my main recommendation, just call them and talk to them. They're people too. If you just sit down and have a one-on-one conversation with them and say, hey, this is what we're trying to do. We want to create a wonderful environment here in your beautiful neighborhood to take care of some seniors. Most of the time we'd love to have you. Send us the plans. We'd love to see what we can do to accommodate you.
There's kind of two thoughts to that, because some of the owners that we've run across over the years, the HOA or the POA will say, no, we can't allow that. Well, they're wrong. They have to. And they're guaranteed there's probably some in the neighborhood they just don't know. But the biggest thing is we like to get approval, because we want not to be interrupted if we're doing some construction or doing what we do. But I guarantee you, Chris had it right. If you talk to them, explain to them, and there's other groups, when they say no, it's not us. We've never had to do it. They'll bring a lawyer in the first time they're challenged by a lawyer from the state of Texas laws that they're required to be able to allow group homes. They stop, because it is definitely against the law to keep us out of the community. I know this for a fact. When I was in some nice suburbs I've lived in, we've had assisted living, we've had areas for people with a lot of different problems, group homes. They're all there. I had one next door to me in Hearthstone for 20 years. No problem. They were great, good neighbors. Never saw them much.
Yeah.
And they weren't disturbing, but they kept the yards going. So a lot of the fear is that it's going to bring your community down. Absolutely incorrect.
Yeah.
Talk with them.
Really, it comes down to they're worried about all the cars that are going to be parked on the street. They don't want to have a big sign out front.
No signs.
We don't put giant signs saying assisted living here.
We don't put any sign.
It's a normal home that fits in with the rest of the neighborhood. The front facade of it still looks like a single family home. At most I'll put a welcome mat with our logo and a few things in the front window for the state regulations. But other than that, you'd never notice that it's anything other than a regular home in the neighborhood.
So don't let that be a stopping block for you, because it's not.
Okay, and that kind of segues into the next question, is asking, have you built a facility from scratch instead of buying existing homes?
We personally have not built from scratch. A lot of the ones that we're looking at that we've either acquired or are under contract, we're looking at doing expansion and add-on. We've looked at business models of doing a build from scratch campus, which would be, buy a couple acres and then put 3 to 5 individual homes or facilities there, almost like a roundabout in a cul-de-sac, and making that basically a senior care community with multiple facilities. So you'd have somewhat active, you'd have seniors that need help with their activities of daily living, maybe memory care, and then of course a few rooms and facility for hospice and things like that. So we've thought about building from the ground up, but it's not something that we've undertaken just yet.
And there's just a little bit of reason on that too, because
Yeah.
when we got started with this, and especially with our investor groups, everybody wants to get a return on their investment quicker. And we looked at the way that we've done business in the past and buying other companies. If you have one that needs some help, maybe it's bad management, maybe the people retiring, it's easier to go in there and spend 2 or 3 months getting it ready, and then you start cash flowing. If you build, and we build a lot of custom homes and stuff like this over the years, you end up taking today 18 months to build a beautiful 6,000 square foot house, and then you got approved by the state, could be another how many months?
If you have to do your licensing from scratch, the process to get licensed is typically around 8 months to a year in the state of Texas right now. Unfortunately, the state is highly understaffed, so they can't move as quickly as most of us would like them to. But
So what it takes a year to year and a half, 2 years to open up and start bringing in the income. The way our model is with investors, it wasn't the most opportune way to start.
Yeah, it's much more efficient to buy something that's already a pre-existing facility,
Make it better.
has a license in place, and you come in and you do some deferred maintenance, maybe expand it. It creates a return a lot faster for our investors. So we're able to get into it and start cash flowing much sooner than doing a ground build.
But in the future, we will be building some of our own facilities.
Got it. Well, thank you guys so much. I don't want to keep everyone past the time, but there are some other questions in there. Guys, if you have questions for Stephen and Chris, got all the information, contact information right there. Reach out to them. I know they'd be happy to help. If you have questions regarding how your IRA can get involved in something like this, reach out to Quest, any one of our IRA specialists. We'll be able to help you out. But with that, we'll leave you guys. We'll let you guys go. Thank you guys so much for stopping by.
We appreciate it very much, and our information is on the screen. Feel free to call us anytime.
Yeah, and if you do have an IRA with Quest, definitely talk to them. We have Quest.
Quite a few of our investors from Quest.
And they've used their Quest funds, so it's definitely an option. Definitely talk to them and see what you can do. And if you have any questions for us, shoot us an email, send us a text. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to answer all your questions.
And have great success in your real estate, guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you.